Well, good morning. Hello, everybody. Welcome to a new WoW week. I wasn't thinking of it at the time when I decided that Monday was my day off, but I do think it's rather fitting that the beginning of my week is Tuesday with reset day because, the true WoW player life. Welcome to the stream. Happy Tuesday. Hope you guys are doing well. So far, so good on the stream. So far, so good. I have dropped 0 frames, and I hope it stays that way. Nita, thank you very much for the 2-month reset. Appreciate it. I didn't hear a sound for that. That's a problem. Let me put these in and back out. Maybe that'll help. Oh, color stunning. Why, thank you. I think I have decided that I just really like red lipstick. I don't need to wear it every day, but I'm okay with wearing it a strong amount of days because it makes me feel good and I like it. How about this? No. Countess Potato, thank you very much for the 9-month resub. Happy Twitch, baby. Happy Twitch, baby. I hear we're about to get a cat. Legend has it when you wear the cat shirt and you say cat, you can summon the original cat. Worth a try. Hello, how you doing? So today on the stream, it is Tuesday, which means reset day mount runs. We're going to be in Hellfire Citadel, but first, my priest is still in Oldham, so we may as well do another one of those Shadow Barb drone dailies before I forget. And before I start that, let me show off for a second. Check out my Warlock and check out how she's level 106 now. I'm pretty sure that on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm pretty sure on Sunday we stopped at level like 60 something. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. Can you tell I had a day off? Okay. Let's pop into Oldham. I'm gonna unmute this. I'm gonna poke around in my computer sound settings for a bit and see if I can't get sound because I don't want to be missing subs and I can see them but I can't hear them. Lazy MX Hero, thank you for the brand new sub. Welcome to the Squirrel Squad. Morning and all other time of day salutations to everybody. Nice battle pet. Where does it drop? This one comes from cat shelters. We got her from a kitten shelter. Hi Hazel, which expansion are you most likely to level in after the squish? So before I knew more about how it worked, these are my thinking fingers. Before I knew more about how it worked, I was going to be committed to the Cataclysm because I love leveling in Cataclysm zones, specifically Hyjal and Oldham. Those are like my zones. But having said that, I will probably need to, if leveling through Cataclysm, do more than just those two. And I will avoid the Twilight Highlands at any cost. And we've more recently found out that you're not going to be able to start the Cataclysm zones until at least level like sort of 25-ish when you learn your flying, which makes sense because it would have been weird if they gave you flying at level 10, and it would have been bad if they'd let you into Cataclysm before you can fly because it just doesn't really work. Great, anyways. So I think it makes sense. Sean, thank you very much for the 11-month resub. 1 month till the big one. Hope you are staying safe. And Cash, thanks for the 7-month resub. That staff is sick. I don't know how behind in chat I am. If you're talking about my Shadow Priest staff, it is indeed a great combat staff. It does not match this outfit. My Warlock staff, however, I decided to put on that Void touched weapon illusion that I got out of Horrific Visions, and I put that on. I'm like, yes, it matches me and completely overwrites the color of the original staff, so I can pick any staff I want purely based on the silhouette, and it's gonna look great. I'm not getting sound, but that's not too surprising because these are clearly not connected, so let me mess with my Bluetooth settings briefly. In the meantime, well, I wish I could read chat and simultaneously mess with my Bluetooth settings because that would be really ideal. It's kind of what I want to do right now. Am I not connected? Oh, you know what I did is I put only one of them back. All right, so we're going to put both of them in. I only wear one of these, but I have to take both of them out of the case, otherwise it gets confused. So I'm going to give this like 5 seconds. I would not necessarily recommend this product. It's a little bit finicky. Oh, can you give me a tip on choosing an alt? Want to level a Nightborn? All the class seem to kind of interest me, but not enough. At that point, you just got to kind of pick one at random if need be, and then make yourself stick with it for a while to learn a little deeper in the class. They're all going to kind of feel the same on a surface level. So why is it only... Let's see. Let's try this. Don't hate on the slash roll is what I'm saying. It looks like you guys can hear game sound. I should know how to do this. Sound settings. Okay, you guys are definitely getting the Windows pings, but I'm not. That's very unusual. Let's do this. Nope. Drat, sometimes that just happens. Becky, thank you very much for the 10-month resub. Appreciate it. Alright, I was wondering if that was you or me. No, that was definitely me. I was doing that to see if I can hear it, and it's a very unusual situation where you guys can hear it, and I can't. I don't know why that happens. It's not my favorite thing, but, you know, wireless devices are a little bit tricky sometimes. Mooney, thank you very much for the 11-month resub. You guys got a hype train kicked off. Hi, Hazel and chat. Hope everyone is having a wonderful, wonderful day. Any advice for making friends in retail WoW? I've struggled with having a consistent group of pals in the game for like 7 years. Finding your people is not, I mean, it's not easy. Sometimes you kind of got to get lucky. If you've been in a great deal of groups and it never works out, then you could take a look at your own behavior. But for the most part, there's a lot of different styles of group interactions, and you got to find people that jam with you, that also you kind of fit in with them. And that's hard, especially because a lot of groups will be kind of set up already and established and not really, you know, looking for new members. I am getting concentrated royal jelly, and apparently they want that from take Magni's. All right, so they want me to go where on earth from the Veil of, okay, Veil of Eternal Blossoms. Okay, so I'm just gonna use my Stormwind cloak and get to Stormwind and then do that. I guess as long as you guys have game sound, I'll just try to keep an eye on subs. Let's see. Fyra with the 11-month resub. Me too. Thank you. Saberclaw with the 7 months. Thanks for all you do, including the latest video and UI improvements in Shadowlands. Of the new races that we are seeing in Shadowlands, which one would you level up first if they were made into an allied race? Probably Venthyr, but I haven't had a really close-up personal gameplay experience with Night Fae yet, so maybe the Fawns from there might change my mind. But Venthyr looked the most intriguing to me for now. Let's see, we also have Hawkscape with the bits, thank you very much. And we also had Master Zoragama with a brand new sub. Welcome to the Squirrel Squad, Master Zoragama. Full Mithril Alchemist, I like that one. Thanks very much for the brand new sub. Welcome. Andrew with the gift sub, thanks man. And Conrad with the 16 bits. Thanks for all of your guides for a new WoW player. Aw, you guys are too much. Shucks. Aw, shucks, you all make me blush. Is Squirrel Squad still accepting new members? Haven't been able to find a guild since BC. We are. We are still accepting new members. The mods have been doing or the officers, which, same thing, have been doing an excellent job of making sure that there is space for new players that want to be active. So there is room. We are in the guild finder on Lightbringer NA, which reminds me, I need to turn on my chat bot. I don't know what's up with me. I was on such a good streak of turning it on every day. I had reminders set and everything, and I've fallen off the cliff. The train, the boat. Probably not the cliff. That sounds more dramatic than necessary. Astria, thank you very much for the 8-month resub. And Mars Princess 13 with the 10-month resub. Thank you. How does it feel leveling a warlock to leveling a warlock in Classic? Oh, man. In Classic... So, in Classic, my demon, my blueberry, was kind of a nice thought. He was a sweet gesture. He didn't do a whole lot. He didn't really hold a lot of aggro, so a lot of my mental space when leveling in Classic was about how much damage can I do before I pull aggro, and how long can I have aggro before it's a problem. And that decision-making structure fueled a lot of my decisions about what to pull and where. So that was something. Plus, whenever you did end up with aggro because your Voidwalker could not hold aggro to save the life of him, your spell pushback would be so bad that you could barely cast anything, and that would cause a lot of problems. Whereas on live, the Warlock that I'm leveling is she's a Void Elf, so she doesn't even get spell pushback even if she is tanking, which she isn't, because her pets hold threat really well. It's great. Conrad, thanks for the bits. Zalo, thank you for the 5-month resub. You guys got all the way to level 4. Full lemming. You know, there's cliffs. It's just the turn of phrase. You just jump right off and don't worry about it too much. I caught my first Coelacanth on Animal Crossing yesterday. Congratulations. How is your Animal Crossing going? Oh man, if I get too into it now, I'll never catch up in chat. I started laying out my restaurant. I decided that at first it was just like a big square that had different fencing, and then I put down like the wooden floor texture, and then I was like, okay, I'll just have like some tables and chairs and it'll be a restaurant. But then I'm like, where will the food be cooked? Because I had like this oven, but I put it in the dining room and it was taking up all the space, and I was like, well, this building's not up to code. So I added a bathroom, I added a kitchen, I added a separate speaker for the kitchen area to play different music, because I feel like that's very true to restaurants. There'll be the dining room music, but then back in the kitchen, the chef staff are like jamming out to something else. And then I also terraformed a terrace with outdoor seating, and what I want to do is I want to make an artificial lake, and then an island in the middle of a lake, and then a path with a bridge to get to the island, and on that little island I want to have like the VIP seating area with an extra special table. But I don't have enough furniture patterns, so I'm just kind of using what I have for now, and then I figure that I'm going to upgrade all the furniture and the vibe, because right now it's just a pizza restaurant, but eventually I would love to make it like a sushi restaurant. But we'll see. I just need to get more pieces for it, and also I spent like half of my day on that yesterday, so maybe it's okay for me to chill for a bit. Played a Horde since 2008 when I started. Recently started playing Alliance and Lightbringer. So many nice people. I've made some friends. Thanks for giving the server free advertising. It's a nice place. I've been there for a long time. Let's see. Where can you farm Echo of Mortality? Pretty much anywhere BFA. So if there's anything else that you want to farm, you can kind of double duty it. However, I did reasonably well farming it. There's a spot in Zuldazar, kind of where that battle's happening in the northern part of the zone where like the blood trolls keep spawning. That one's okay, but honestly, I wouldn't worry about it. I would just do like some world quests every day to get your first initial chunk, and then if you try to grind it out, you're going to make yourself much more miserable, and you'll get it pretty soon anyways if you're just playing every day for like a normal amount of time. Astria, thank you very much for the brand new gift sub. Congrats to whoever got that one. Appreciate it. Rachel's Game Corner, thanks for the 3-month resub. John, thanks for the 2-month resub. The level 5. I don't know. Have we done 5 before? That's exciting. How long did it take for you to finish the Mecha Done achievement? I have data to tell you that one because I don't remember. Let's see. Mecha Done. So I earned my Mecha Done achievement October the 28th of last year. And that was, I believe, quite some time, a significant amount of time after the patch came out. So the reason for that is, one, it's a hard achievement that requires you to find some rare things. You just got to kind of farm it for a while. But secondly, I was also doing the Nazjatar meta achievement, the Undersea Usurper. And looking at both of those objectives all at once in a day made me not want it anymore. So I decided to do Nazjatar first. And I didn't really dig into Mecha Done. Like, I kind of looked into it to see if there's anything that really needed to be done over time, but I didn't really dig into Mecha Done until after I was done Nazjatar, I believe, because it just felt less overwhelming to try to do one of them at a time. Oh, these are the jelly. I've just been clicking on stuff. Conrad, thanks for the bits. Started farming mounts. Which ones do you recommend? I like doing dungeon mounts because if there's one that you really like, you can farm it much more quickly than a raid mount because your lockout is much shorter. For a heroic dungeon, you can run them once per day per character, and if it drops out of a dungeon that doesn't have to be on heroic, then you can do it up to 10 times an hour. So I would look through any kind of database that has mounts that drop from dungeons. Simple Armory is one that I've used in the past, and see if any of them appeal to you, but secondly, dungeon ones are a nice thing to kind of ease you into mount farming because they feel a little bit more achievable in a short to medium time frame, I think, than a raid mount that, especially if you're only running on a couple characters, or even just one character, raid mounts can take a long time. Fear Score, thank you very much for the brand new sub. 14 dungeons last night, running up to 4 a.m. because I impulsively decided to finish the weekly on my main and 3 of my alts. Now I can barely look at keystones. Oh, that's a night. Did you get anything good out of those chests, though? Okay. Let's see. Feeling the drawback to WoW because of Shadowlands, but I'm reluctant. If you've already played some BFA and you don't feel like you need any more of it, or you just don't want to get into an expansion late, I would come back, but not yet. Chill for a while. Do something else. Come back a little bit closer. We don't really know when Shadowlands is going to be. Alpha is still relatively early, so I wouldn't, if you feel like you're going to burn out coming back too soon, I would chill for a while longer, maybe look into it kind of closer to summertime. Hazel, do you have squawks and sharkbait? Squawks, yes. Sharkbait, no. And given the choice, I would switch those two because I think the red one looks nicer. But I'm quite happy to have my Squawks. I do freehold zeros whenever I need a key, or like whenever I've accidentally lost my key because I didn't do any dungeons and I just like need to run a mythic zero real quick. It's always freehold because one of these days it's going to spit out a mat for me, but that one might be a thing that I farm like 2 expansions from now. That might be mat runs in the future. Speaking of mat runs, I'm never going to get there if I can't find 3 more concentrated jelly. I'm like halfway through this assault. Well, a third, but you know. Who doesn't round up sometimes? The problem is because of the assault, everything is glowing. And it all looks like it could contain jelly. Everything is jelly-like, and I know what the jelly look like, but I'm multitasking. Ooh, Twilight Depth. When can you start leveling only through mining and herb? You need to be able to train the profession, which I believe you can do starting at level 5. Somebody fact check me on that if you can. It might be level 10. If not level 10, then level 5. I still think you have to get at least 5. Not 100% sure, but pretty early, and you can, indeed, the early zones, the early leveling zones are pretty strong through gathering, so I do a lot of it that way. Oh, that reminds me, I never finished talking about which zones I wanted to level in. My new plan is to level in original zones, like Eastern Kingdom's Kalimdor, until level like 25-30, and then go ahead and move on to either Cataclysm or Draenor, depending on what I'm in the mood for. Also depending on how Draenor treasures end up shaking out. I would not be surprised if Draenor treasures are still there, but there's in some way not as effective experience-wise after the retuning, because it would make more sense to do it through questing. I don't know. And Ref, thank you for the gift sub. Luxadern with the bits, thank you very much. They're on here somewhere. I am getting a little behind in my chat window. Oh, I'm very behind. Oh, wow. So behind. Oh, there they go. Level 6 hype train, let's go. And Annaluge with the 5-month reset, appreciate it. Okay, all right. Nothing makes gold anymore. Food is useless. What do you do? Food's always kind of a tough one because it's a secondary profession, so anybody can do it. I have been doing okay off of, alchemy and enchanting still, but honestly, this is kind of the point of the expansion where I'm just coasting. I'm not really actively grinding gold for anything anymore. I'm gonna head back to Oldham to turn all that in. So I'm mostly just kind of leveling alts and making some amount of gold that way. I usually, and then rep is not too bad right now with the rep bonus. You can do rep world quests and emissaries and just world quests and then get Paragon caches. It's all right. I'm not super in touch with the latest and hottest ways to make gold though, because I honestly haven't really been doing any of it. My free time has been split pretty firmly between alt leveling and Animal Crossing. I could tell you how to make bells. Part of me really wants to do just one Animal Crossing video that's not like the stream VoD, just one that's like just some beginner tips, because every now and then someone's like, Hazel, I got the game, you got any beginner tips? And I do, but I have too many to just kind of like shotgun out, and I feel like I want to put together just one, and like it's too late for like the greater YouTube audience, but you know, there's got to be a couple people that need that. I don't know. I just want to show off all my cool tricks. What am I doing? I'm going to Oldham. That's what I'm doing. There we go. Choo-choo. That is a little teacup. It's adorable. Oh, is that a little teacup? Yeah, this is my, I have lots of teacups about this size. Oh. I just poured it on my desk mat. This is my Japanese one. So I use this one exclusively for Japanese teas, which for me is really only Genmaicha and Hojicha. Sencha teas I find are a little harsh on my stomach, so I have a pot of Genmaicha this morning, which is the Japanese green toasted rice tea. But I also have other teacups around that size for various different ones. I have one that's almost the same. It's also white. It also has pink flowers. It's about the same size. But that one's from China, so I use that one for my Chinese teas. Oldham, over here. Everyone else also trying to make gold. It's going to be a really tough time right now because, you know, like Conrad said, everybody's trying to do it. Everybody's extra trying to do it because people are going for their last minute mad rush for a Brutosaur. Plus, at the end of the expansion, with news about the next expansion coming out, it's not a big time for anybody to be buying anything. A lot of players that would have been buying goods are taking a break and waiting for Shadowlands. A lot of people are more or less wrapped up with their 8-3 progression. They're just kind of chilling and waiting. So you have many more people trying to make gold than you have people spending gold. The demand for most things, not everything, you know, pets and transmog and whatever doesn't change that much, but the demand for most things will be higher during fresh content releases and will drop off at the end of the expansion. We've seen a pretty good sized drop off at the end of BFA, though. It happened faster than usual. Okay, I am heading to Hellfire Citadel. Well, actually, let's go back to Borellis first and then flip my missions, and then Hellfire Citadel. For the, yeah, I know, we're getting there. Joker looks so cute. Made my first batch of sun tea a couple days ago. Got an apple mint plant. Just so delightful for a cool drink. That sounds nice. Still selling bags. Battle pets. Also always need bags. Do you think the next gold sync amount will be like 10 million gold? Could be. I don't have any concrete information on this, so the following is purely my own speculation and could be, and probably will be, wildly wrong. I am guessing that there's going to be some amount of inflation in Shadowlands because there always is, but they're not going to be actively looking for ways to give us massive amounts of additional gold. And the 5 million Longboy price was already quite high for current level inflation, which was justified, in my brain, by how good that utility is. But they know that that utility was too good. They know they went too far with making a useful mount with the Birdosaur, which is why they're removing it from the vendor. So I don't think they're ever going to make anything as good as that again so that they don't have to go through this whole debacle. And that means that in my brain, they wouldn't make a 10 million gold mount because they can't put anything good enough on it to justify it unless they had crazy inflation. And I think they're going to be trying to avoid those levels of inflation. It's one thing to have, you know, our item level jump up and jump up and jump up, and then the item level squish it, and then our levels have been jumping up and up and up, and then they've level squished us. There's really no good way for them to do a gold squish. So I think they are going to be more conservative about gold inflation than they are about item level inflation, for example. Vicinatrix, thank you for the 3-month resub. What's the mission add-on? My mission table add-on is War Plan. WAR space PLAN War Plan. It's delightful. I like it quite a bit. Ooh, I should sell these augment runes. Let's pop onto this. Say hello. Hope you're taking care of yourself in this odd time. Thanks, Leslie. I am very extremely fortunate. I am very well suited to this. I'm lucky that as long as my internet holds up, you know, fingers crossed, as long as the internet's okay, I can continue living my life largely as I have in the past. So it's mostly just being worried about the rest of the world and my family and whatnot. But we're all doing okay. We're doing okay. I mean, here we're doing totally fine. Our internet has been really sketchy though, which has been a little frightening because both my husband and I rely on that to work. But we had a technician come by. It was funny. They came, I think they physically came here, but they weren't allowed to come in. But they were doing like a tech assisted thing. So it was like a phone call with the guy outside the door, but he can't come in. I don't know why they couldn't have just called. I'm not 100% sure they were there. I didn't see any of this, but, husband did some troubleshooting and restarted some other things that we had forgotten were part of the system, and it's so far so good. There is a piece they're going to need to replace that they cannot replace until COVID allows them, until they're allowed to come back into people's houses again, but, you know, so far so good. Fingers and toes crossed. One of my favorite female streamers. Enjoy your stories about cat and fish food. Did you get your driver's license yet? Not yet. Due to the pandemic, the DMV, the Department of Motor Vehicles in America, has shut down, at least in Oregon, and they've canceled my road test, and it is up to me to schedule another one once they open, but we don't know when that will be. I'm not in any particular hurry. I've been more or less taking a bit of a break from that because we don't have anywhere to drive anyways. So we're just kind of staying home. Once things start to clear up, I will be getting more driving practice in and eventually book another road test. I have a learner's license, so I am allowed to drive. I just need to have somebody with their license in the car with me. And given that my husband and I only have the one vehicle, that's pretty much our lives anyway, so I'm not particularly limited. Oregon, at least, is very generous with the permissions they give to learners. I don't have a curfew. I don't have a passenger limit. There's really no limitations aside from having somebody in the car that has their license, and an adult, but I don't exactly know any teenagers, so it's fine. Raid difficulty, mythic, that's the stuff. You are my favorite WoW content provider. Thank you for all your work. Aw, shucks. What does your husband do? He has an office job, and I think that's about as specific as I can be. The Wi-Fi gods figured out that I finally upgraded to BFA. Been getting fits of 13 megs down. Is that a good thing? Depending on your internet, that's either a very bad day or a very good day. When I was in Canada, I used to get like 5 down, 2 up, and that was my expensive internet. This was like 2011, mind you, but also Canada. They're also Shaw. It wasn't good. I tried to stream on it back in those days, and I really could not. It just would not work. I don't want to go this way. I want to hang a right. I've gone the wrong way. We're gonna do this boss later. We're gonna go to the right. But then I have friends that have some crazy kind of fiber. It's not Google Fiber, but a similar system, and they get like 500 up, 500 down. So they look at our 50-50 that sometimes takes a nap, and they think that's really silly. Didn't realize you're in the Pacific Northwest. Me too. Love it here. I always talk about different places I could live, but I don't think in my heart I would ever do it. I'm from Vancouver Island, and I live in Oregon currently. And in my brain, I could live in either BC, I could live in Oregon, I could totally live in Washington. That's it. I don't know if I could, I mean, I could, obviously. I'm lucky in that as long as I have good internet, I am pretty much entertained. It's not like I go out in the town all that much, so I don't need that many amenities. I mostly just need to be able to get deliveries and have internet, which is most places. We could probably save a ton of money if we lived in a flyover state somewhere, but I love the Pacific Northwest so much. I'm not super outdoorsy, but I do like going for walks and like, you know, easy hikes, nothing too intense, but just getting outside is really nice, and I don't think it would feel right if I was anywhere else. I could totally do Washington though. It's real bad. We're paying for 60 down. Ooh, that sucks. Newer to the game, I think I'm set in terms of gearing up. I've gotten to 465 in 3 weeks, now trying to gain more gold. Any tips? Wow, you're smoking it. Is that a phrase that people say in that context? Never mind. You're doing great. The gold is tough right now. Currently, it is harder to make gold than it will be for most times in the WoW life cycle, and what works for somebody on one server may not work for you. What I would do is I would grab a gathering profession and a crafting profession, and then see how you do just kind of gathering, selling mats, or gathering and crafting. So the 4 that I like to mess with are herbalism, alchemy, enchanting, and tailoring. You can, with 2 characters, do all 4 of those, or you can do them in pairs. And those give you some options for things to sell. It's not going to be great right now, but it's better than anything else I've been up to, at least recently. So now we go this way. And yeah, and then we're going to do Zakoon, and then Iskar, and then we can go up the thing. That's right. That's right. Gigabit fiber here at home. It's nice. I don't even mind the 50 up, 50 down. I can live my life on 50 up, 50 down. I can stream 1080, 60 FPS, which is what I want. I can upload videos, and it doesn't take any meaningful amount of time. And we can play games, we can have both of us playing games, watching streams, whatever, it works fine. When it's working is the thing. Our internet company is currently in the process of being taken over by another internet company. It's unclear how much is going to change, but at the very least there will be new people in charge of it. And I'm hoping our service with our current ISP has been inconsistent, and every now and then it just won't work, and they can't tell us why, which is very frustrating when you need it to work. So I'm hoping that at the very least they'll be able to help when their service that we pay for is broken. That's all I really want. Would you ever want to go back to Canada, or are you pretty content with US living? I miss my family a lot, and I would love to one day live closer to my family, which could mean Canada or could mean Washington would be closer as well. Having said that, America is lower cost of living here compared to Canada. I could never, I don't know about never, but it would be very, very, very hard for me to afford to buy a house if I wanted to buy a house near my family. They live in Victoria. That's not happening. Those places are $1 million plus, and $1 million gets you a place that may fall down because it's probably got some damage somewhere. They're not good. So, it makes more financial sense for us, especially given that my husband's work is here, to live here and then if I continue to earn a bit more money to make more regular trips, you know, of course, once travel is a better idea. Travel back and forth to home to visit more often, I think, is probably the ideal solution. Having said that, if I do really well in my life and I get successful somehow, I would totally love to retire in BC somewhere. I think that would be great. I would love a little bit of space, you know, do a little, do some gardening, live my rural Canadian dreams. Greetings, how are you? Sup, Googleuk? I'm doing pretty well. How are you? Ever been to Crater Lake or hiked Table Rock? I have not. We do really teeny tiny itty bitty baby hikes, and we kept trying to, for a while we were trying to explore new hikes, but we kept arriving at places and then finding out that you couldn't bring your dog, and we kind of have to bring the dog. I don't know if I could face my dog if I left him behind or like boarded him somewhere and then went for a hike without him. It just feels wrong. We've done Mount Hood a few times. It is a little bit tricky because my spouse has fairly significant allergies, so during the time of the year when the weather is nice enough to want to be doing any hiking, he's usually experiencing some like allergy season, and it makes it tough for him to enjoy himself. So I might go more if I get my license and I can just kind of take the dog and go out by myself. That might be more my speed, but we'll see. Crater Lake I think is pretty far. Need to properly level to get the heritage. Paid boosts don't give heritage. This is true. Death Knights do still count for heritage, though. My understanding is that Death Knights are a way to kind of sort of cheese the heritage thing, although it's not really all that cheesy because, honestly, leveling 20 to 58 should not take that long with the buff anyways. Northern California, very Pacific Northwest. Love it. Grown up here my whole life. Lots of forest and rain. I've never been to North Cal. So I'm very biased against California because I've only ever been to Orange County. That's the only place I've ever been. I've been to Irvine, I have been to Anaheim, and that's it. And I've been a few different times, and I don't hate it there. It's not like a bad place. I don't feel at home. I'm not really comfortable there. The weather is weirdly nice. They don't get enough rain. Their traffic is hideous. Things are kind of expensive, but they don't feel very authentic. Everything, at least in Orange County, felt very like big box copy paste. There wasn't like a whole lot of human spirit around anyways, if that's not exactly what I mean, but anyways. And then the water was gross. Tap water was not nice there, and I am very used to being able to take tap water, maybe run it through a Brita filter, and then drink it. And I drink a lot of water, and whenever I visit, I always find myself buying bottled water, which I don't want to do. But tap water is almost undrinkable, at least where I've been. And I don't care for that. Not about that life. So I'm perfectly happy to live around here and then just fly down whenever there's something real important going on in California. Table Rock allows dogs, but Medford's a little way too. I hate SoCal, but I miss the Bay Area. Oh, that's true. I've also been to San Francisco. That's another place that's also in California, right? Is San Francisco the Bay Area? Is that the thing? I've heard of San Francisco Bay. Is that the bay they're talking about? I know nothing. I did not see the right part of San Francisco. I saw a little corner of the financial district. I walked the wrong way and got dinner in the wrong part of town, and that was all I really saw. I was only there for one night. I did not get the right first impression of San Francisco. I don't like it there at all. Oh man, that is indeed the Bay Area. Yeah, that looked really expensive. I had a very emotionally intense conversation with my Uber driver who was talking about trying to support her daughter and having to commute like 2.5 hours to drive into San Francisco because they couldn't afford to live any closer, so that she could, you know, drive for Uber and Lyft to try to keep things together for her kid. And it didn't paint a great picture of that city. Nothing that happened there really made me think, wow, I want to come here. I'd rather never go back. The blue thing coming from above. I should know this. Blue thing from above. Blue thing. You'd like Laguna Beach from Victoria too. Laguna is very islandy. Kind of gaming chair do you use? Any brands you highly recommend or don't recommend at all? So I'm currently sitting in, I've kind of forgone gaming chairs in my more recent years for ergonomic office chairs, and I am sitting in a Herman Miller Embody, which is not a cheap chair, but it's It's very good. I like it very, very much. You can kind of see, they don't sponsor me. That would be the life. It's got kind of like this narrow back that's got like all of this plastic back support in it that kind of adjusts to your own posture. But this is the only chair that's ever really been able to get me to sit properly, and feel comfortable and not be in pain at the end of a workday. So it's as expensive as they are, and they're expensive. I do really like Herman Miller products. I think it's worth it if you can find something in decent shape secondhand, or new if that's your vibe, whatever you're up to. But I like it a lot. I could see myself getting trying out another different type of their chair for another room, or getting one for my husband one day. But like I said, they're expensive, and we're kind of trying to save some money. It feels like a weird time to be making big purchases. That doesn't feel like the right thing to do right now. So I'm doing my best to not. There we go. Doors open. Hear that North Cal has good tap water. I also, I know that Southern California is no longer in a drought, but everything I remember hearing about it was from when, they had all these restrictions and when you could water your lawn and how much water you can use. And as somebody that keeps freshwater fish and doesn't ever want to feel too bad about having to do water changes for them, I would like to stay in areas that naturally have a lot of groundwater so that we're not too worried about it just running out. If they have to truck water in from somewhere else, I don't know if I should be living there. Oh, the Twilight Devastation. Oh, in which case that would be my Twilight Devastation. It usually comes from out of me, though. I guess when you're a gnome and you're about an inch tall, everything looks like it's coming from above. Someone whose job is a slave over a computer several hours a day. Ergonomic chair is probably the right call. There's a saying about making sure to invest in the things that separate you from the ground. So spending more money on things like shoes, your mattress, and your office chair would also qualify, because, you spend a lot of time in these things, and if they're not supporting you correctly, you can do damage to your body that can be hard and even more expensive to fix. So the idea is that if you can save up for something nicer, or at least better, it doesn't have to be more expensive, but if you can save up for something better, prevent yourself from having back problems or foot problems or getting a better sleep. That's supposed to be a good investment in your health, and I buy into that. Not everybody will, but I buy into that. Found a guild scavenger hunt document online full of riddles. What is your favorite location in Azeroth, and what would its riddle be? I don't know that I'm creative enough to come up with a riddle on the spot. However, there is a lake kind of just outside of Teldrassil, sort of on the southern side. It's like a real small one. It's not quite part of like leveling zones, really. It's more, I've made a wrong term. It's not really part of like the leveling area. It's more just kind of like a hidden pocket. And of course, we don't spend a lot of time in Teldrassil anymore because it burned down and stuff. So you have to time travel to get back there, or do the Chronormu thing, or whatever that person's name was. But I used to like hanging out at that lake. We were always looking for, I was always looking for cute places to hang out on my character whenever I was in between arena queues, because, you're not really doing anything, you're just kind of waiting for your next queue to pop, and you don't really need to access anything for the most part. So you can pick anywhere that you want. There were islands that people would go to. There were like inns on Horde. There was like this one inn in Silvermoon that people would hang out in. But I liked that. I like that little Teldrassil lake. Get that Felsteel Annihilator. Maybe today's the day. Could be. Could be. We are 3 of 4. Today is the last day that I need to full clear on my Priest and my Hunter. Starting next week, I'll be able to jump right to Manaroth, I believe. So it'll be even faster. We'll be able to start getting the Warrior through. For today, I think we're going to clear Priest, Hunter, and then probably the Druid, I believe. Will be what we're getting. Priest, Hunter, Druid will probably be today, but starting next week, we can start getting some playthrough here. What would you like to see them add for testing in the next part of the alpha? I want to check out, and I'm not in a big hurry, whenever it's ready, it's ready. I'm not super antsy for any particular thing, but I am excited to check out the new hub, Oribos, Roybush. Oiboy. I want to go to Oiboy. I want to see what the hub looks like. I want to see what all its cute little areas are. I want to see the vibe. I want to look at the NPCs. I want to see what the vendors sell. I want to see where the mailboxes are. I want to figure out where I'm going to plant up on my Brutosaur mount. I want to see all the details. I want to like really dig through there. So that's what I'm looking forward to. I also want to see more of the dungeons, but there's already 2 out and I haven't gotten through them yet. Queuing for alpha dungeons is an awkward thing because I need to do some of it off stream so that I can get some clean footage of them. But the queues take a really long time to pop because there's not that many people in alpha. And off stream time that I'm still like working, recording, it's awkward to try to find things that I can do, but that I can stop at any time. There's not that many things I can do like that because I need to have something going on while I'm waiting for the queue to pop, but it could be like a couple hours. It's awkward for scheduling. Okay, this is attempt number 13 for the Felsteel Annihilator. Let's see, drumroll. No dice. Maybe attempt number 14, but skip quest is done, so I should turn that in. I believe I can turn that in if I go through this portal, maybe at the beginning, and that's good to have done. Hazel, have you ever played Where in Warcraft? It's basically a WoW version of GeoGuessr, and it's a lot of fun. I don't know what GeoGuessr is. I've never played anything like that. Upper Citadel, maybe? That must be, yeah, because that's where I picked up that quest, so that must be where it turns in. I sense that the next Gold Sync mount will have a mailbox and a bank. I think a bank, because we got a mailbox toy. We have Katie's Stamp Whistle from Legion, so I think that they would do a bank mount before a mailbox mount. I don't need a bank mount. I'm not a heavy bank user. I mostly, I don't stash a lot of things. I'll stash, like, extra trinkets. Basically, okay, so you know how in real life sometimes you'll get, like, a gift or you'll buy a piece of clothing and you know right away you're probably not going to wear this, but it's too soon to donate it. Like, you just got it. You'll feel weird. So you store it somewhere just to keep it for, like, whatever the requisite amount of time is before you feel like you've had it long enough to have assuaged your guilt and you can then get rid of it. I do that, but with WoW trinkets. I will get trinkets and I'll be like, well, I guess I should sim this. It might be an upgrade in some situations. I don't know. And I'll stick it in the bank, knowing full well that if I wait a couple of patches, it'll be outdated by item level and then I can safely disenchant it. But aside from that, I'll never actually go sim it or like go pull it out and try it out. The only time I'll ever do that is if I hear somebody else talking about how good that trinket is, or if I just happen to come across a tier list and I'm like, oh, I do have the best in slot trinket and I just stuck it in my bank. Doesn't happen very often. Okay. Let's see. Postmaster. Oh, some more loot. Just some stuff. You get about 3,000 gold per HFC run. Well, for a full clear, so not quite as much for a half clear like we just did, but it's not too bad. Okay. I am so tickled pink by this. I'm still leveling as Demo on her. I'm still leveling as Demonology. It's really fun. I'm gonna need to, I started reading some rotation guides. It looks like Demonology very heavily relies on a couple of Azerite traits, specifically one that gives you a haste bonus. Oh, hello, are you back? Specifically, there's one that gives you a haste bonus after you implode at least 3 imps. Welcome. Hello. I love cats. After you implode 3 imps, you get like a buff, and that's it factors pretty heavily into the rotations, so I'm interested to see if that sticks around in Shadowlands. I guess I should do some Shadowlands testing of Warlock, but I kind of want to figure out what's happening with Warlock on live so that I can go on to Alpha and then check it out and then know what's different, is my thinking anyways. You get dumped at a point in the map. You can move, you can rotate your camera. You gotta put in a pin on the map to where you think you are. Oh, interesting. GeoGuessr the same as get to the airport. Revendreth Gold Sync mount will be a spirit guide for your dead party. Oh, that would be too much. If you could, if you could mitigate raid runbacks with a mount, which I guess would only work in areas that you can mount up, but I mean, I guess it wouldn't quite work because you would need whoever has the mount to die and then run back and then spawn their spirit healer so everybody else can release, and that only really works, like, nobody's gonna want that map because then you're the one that can't go AFK You're the one that has to stick around and do all that extra work. Good hairy child. Random Animal Crossing question. I had 2 plots open, was searching for villagers I wanted. Today one of them is sold. Does the game randomly fill them? Yeah. Yeah, Tom will sell those bad boys if you don't get to it fast enough. Found that out the hard way too. Luckily, it turns out I very much enjoy the villager I ended up with. He sold my last plot to Gloria, and she's delightful. She's very fun. Oh, there's a dress in the store today. I bought 2 colors for myself, but I just realized it would look perfect on her. I should buy her that. I'm gonna do that tonight. Especially because for a while I was just giving villagers anything. Like, I would get an item or a piece of clothing or whatever that I didn't want, so I would give it to anybody just so that they would like me more. And that does work, you know, it will raise your friendship. However, if you give a villager clothing, sometimes they'll wear it, and sometimes they look bad. I gave poor Gloria, she's a little duck, she's a little silent movie film star duck. She's got like a little like 40s cropped, like a cropped bob. She's so cute. And I gave her like this skirt with suspenders, and she looks like Donald Duck now. I did her dirty. She didn't deserve that. She's just trusting my style advice, and I misled her. So maybe if I give her the dress, it'll override it. Wondering if maybe the next Gold Sink mount will be something chauffeured. They haven't done a lot with that mechanic, but it might be too OP since you can't get dazed. Yeah, maybe. I think that the chauffeured chopper thing was just mostly a workaround for, it was just like a benefit for brand new alts. I don't know if they would do any more of them. Any idea how long grinding WoD flying will take starting from basically 0? Should I just wait until Shadowlands? I would wait. I don't know how long it'll take, but I do know that it's not affected by the current Impressive Influence rep buff, and I do know that you'll be able to just train that bad boy in Shadowlands, as you also know. And there's nothing really in Warlords. I mean, I guess if you want to level a bunch of alts now, if you have like a whole page full of alts and you want to level them now, it is nice to have Pathfinder now so that you can fly around, do the Draenor treasures. But you could also just pretend that doesn't exist and level in Pandaria until BFA or until Shadowlands comes around. I don't think I would, because I think it does take a while. A duck flapper, right? Flapper, is that the word? Yeah. And well, the dress that's in the store today is literally the flapper dress. It's what it's called. So I have to buy her that. Gloria's such a good fit for you. She's so precious. Oh my gosh. So I had this new guy come into my campsite today. I've never invited a campsite villager when all of my current houses are full, because I heard that it will displace a random villager. And I don't know, I'm assuming that you get an option to back out. Like if it's like, okay, I'm kicking out Bubbles, and if you liked Bubbles and you wanted to keep her, I'm assuming it'll let you do that and then just go back on it, but I don't know that for sure. And I would really hate to accidentally boot one of my favorite villagers, because I really like probably like 7 out of 10 of them. Even Henry is growing on me, although honestly, if I can just get his furniture, he can leave. He's not a very good musician. Okay. Oh man. I gave Coco the glasses with the fake eyes. It was my best decision. You turn off your game, go back until it picks the villager you want. So I want to do everything without time traveling. I have never time traveled. I guess that's not time traveling. But I don't want to do anything that's outside of the scope of the game. It does allow you to say no. Okay, that's all I need to know. That's all I want. I've gone the wrong way. I guess it doesn't matter. All we have to go do is kill his car, and then we can keep going. Anyone else have Marty the elephant? She's so cute. I do not. I have, so who are my villagers? I got rid of Bob. His room was creeping me out, and I wanted space for more people. So I have Midge. Midge is like a little bird that calls me Tweedledee, and she is so sweet. Her house also a little spooky. She has like really, really cute yellow stuff, and I don't know, it's a little much. But she's, her cheeks have like this little pink swirl pattern on them that makes me think of a little jelly roll, and she's very sweet, so we love her. We have Clay, who is the hamster with all of the tribal markings on his face. He's very lazy and always snacking, and we enjoy him. I've got June. She's a little red panda. She calls me Rainbow. She's precious. I don't run into her very much, but I like her a lot. Ken is a ninja. Ken is a chicken ninja. So of course I have to keep him. He's got a really cool house with a lot of stuff that I want, and I think he's flirting with me because he just kind of walks onto my property. I have this big fenced property that has like a pond with a bench in front of it, and then a bunch of flowers, and he'll just walk right in, post up in my yard in front of my pond, and pull out a book and read. And like, I know I made a nice space, and I know he doesn't know it's my property, but really he should get the hint. So there's Ken. I have Drago, who is a crocodile that has a dragon t-shirt, and his house is just a big table with a ton of sushi on it. And he's definitely flirting with me. I don't think this is an actual mechanic, but he was sending me letters about how nice it would be if we both went on a hike together early morning to watch the sun rise from a mountaintop. It would be cool if the top of the mountain had a couch so that we could eat some snacks. That's a love letter if I ever heard one. And then the next day he mailed me a shirt, and then he was like, man, I was shopping and I thought this would look really good on your body because it has armholes and you have arms. And that's, I think, a pretty explicit message as well. So, Drago definitely wants a piece of this. I don't have rolled, but I'm familiar with him. I know exactly who you're talking about. Oh, man. I think I want to redo my houses. I have 4 of my houses in a little cute row way up in the hills, and I think I want to put the other 6 in another complex. Right now, they're pretty spread out. And honestly, I just need that space. Like, I expanded my restaurant, and it ended up, the exit to the kitchen ended up being kind of like right in front of poor June's house, and I think I just like tanked that poor girl's property values. So if I could move them to the hills and make like another nice little street residential complex, I might do that. Plus, it makes it easier to visit all your villagers, and like check in to see if they're crafting. Every day you can catch up to 2 villagers crafting, and they'll teach you what it is that they're crafting. I have clearly missed something. It's Socrathar. I've missed Socrathar. Let's go kill him. That villager that designed the rim to be a hellscape. I haven't seen that one. Zapharox, thank you. Oh gosh, I've missed a few. Zapharox, thank you very much for the brand new sub. Welcome to the Squirrel Squad. And also, if you're still here, I'm deeply sorry. And Antonius also had a brand new sub about half an hour ago. Thank you. You have arms, always my opening line. You just got to check to make sure they actually have arms, because if they are missing 1 or more arms and you just don't know about it yet, it's going to be awkward. Are you going to give him a chance? It's, he's kind of giving me like teenage anime fan vibes with the way his house is and like the obsession with sushi. He kind of reminds me of boys that I knew in high school. So I feel like he's very sweet, but like I've been there, I'm good. If Animal Crossing had a dating mechanic, I wonder how that would go. Margie Snake often send me letters saying they're bored, asking me to come talk to them. Draco, so we've confirmed. I mean, kinda, you know. Oh boy. I have this horse named Renee. She was one of my first villagers, and I would like her to leave. I don't have anything against her. She's very sweet, but she doesn't really, I never see her. Girl sleeps in so late that I never, ever, ever see her. And because she was one of my first villagers, her house sucks. The original 2 have kind of like lame houses because they just started with tents and they get really basic stuff. Whereas anybody that moves in later has like their whole house set up. So I would like her to leave, but you can't really force a villager out unless you have an amiibo card, and I didn't really want to mess with that. First person that ever said my username without trying to stop and figure it out. Sometimes I like to wing it, but sometimes I wing it in entirely the wrong direction. Yours is a cohesive singular name, which helps, I think. Sometimes people will have names that are like sentences, but because it's all one word, my brain will just completely miss where the line breaks are, and I will create new words that are not the right words. Andrew, I don't know if he's still around, but Andrew Wren. My brain always takes the W and adds it to the Wren, like a bird, and then he becomes Andre, and I don't think that's his name. There, Tyraval, hurry up this way. I love Renee. She's one of my first villagers too. She's sweet. She sleeps in. She can leave. I want Biff to leave so I can re-invite him with a proper house. Oh, okay. So this morning, oh, sorry, Katie, I didn't mean to startle you. I still have a cat in my lap. This morning, there's a camping villager, and campers don't appear very often. There's a camper, and I went to go see what his deal was because I figured maybe if he's really cool, I'll invite him. And this guy, his name is Gaston, Gaston is a rabbit with a mustache, a big one. He calls me Monchot, I believe. He's a French rabbit. He's a grumpy French rabbit with a big old mustache. He looks ridiculous. He's got kind of crazy eyes going on. And apparently, if you invite him, his house is like a mad scientist's laboratory. And I don't know. Maybe I'll invite him, and if he offers to kick out Renee or Bubbles, then he can stay. But if he doesn't, I don't know. I'm here. Andrew Wren here. Yeah, see, that's what I'm thinking of. I figured it was not W-R-E-N like the bird. But, you know, if you ever need, like, a spirit animal, I recommend W-R-E-N like the bird. 97 and 98% spot on. Saw that. Reading comprehension classes. Well, not classes, but, it was the only place I ever did well on in school. People said that English classes were silly to take when you literally speak English. Look who's laughing now. I just Googled him. He looks so angry. He does look very upset. He's awesome. Yeah, so maybe I'll ask him and see who he wants to replace. Because he could replace Bubbles or Renee or probably Henry. But there's a bunch of people I wouldn't want him to kick out. The problem is, I think a lot of my villagers that I don't really want anymore are female villagers, and I would like to have a fairly balanced gender ratio in my city. I don't want to be like subconsciously booting all the women, because what's that about? So I also want at least one villager of each personality type, and right now I'm very heavy on lazy villagers and normal villagers. The lazy ones are male, the normal ones are female. And I think there's some biases there personality-wise, because the normal villagers are just very sweet and friendly and, like, you know, fairly docile, and they get along with everybody and they're just doing their cute little thing. Whereas the Uchi villager, like the older sisterly type that is a little bit more independent, I feel like she can rub people the wrong way just because she'll often be like, I've already seen you today, what are you doing? And I feel like I'm judging them too harshly. And then peppy villagers, so the two that I want to get rid of, one's Uchi and one's peppy. And the peppy villager just comes off as like really grating to me. But I don't want to be some kind of monster that will only keep female villagers if they're like docile and friendly. Well, that's not cool. So I don't know if I just need to find different ones. Maybe I'll look through the list to see if any of the other peppy or Uchi villagers appeal to me. Because Bubbles just ain't cutting it for me right now. Judy's so cute. My friend has her. Her eyes are like mega anime. Kicking at the guy that cleans the town plaza. To be fair, it seems like most people do that. I'm suspecting that Isabel put them up to it. 100% like my kids. Male lazy, ladies normal. Gaston's mustache is an upside down Batman suit. I'll change my mind. I have just the one jock villager, and that's Goose. And Goose can stay even though he was my first villager. Because I've honestly just been feeding him all of the jock stuff. I have given him protein powder, I've given him a weight bench, I gave him a speed bag. He's got a whole gym. So I can't get rid of him because he has all my good stuff. But yeah, I have a couple of lazy villagers. But my lazy villagers are Clay, who I love, and Drago, who loves me. So like I can't get rid of them. 3 jocks, 2 lazy boys. Island has quite a vibe. Apparently, the campsite, I was reading a thing about how the campsite will prioritize villagers of personality types that you don't have. So maybe if I manage to get rid of Renee or Bubbles, it'll prioritize showing me Peppy and Uchi villagers. My frame units are shadowed unit frames. I love the jock villagers. I like them so much more in this game. I never liked them much in New Leaf because they were just kind of like, yo, bro, check out them gains. But now they're like, yo, bro, check out our gains. You're looking ripped today. I'm like, thank you. I did nothing, and I appreciate the thought. Plus, they're so much more endearing now that you can actually see them working out. Like, Goose will go out to the beach, and he'll be, like, lifting a barbell. And he'll be going real hard for a while and kind of like jamming out like he's got music on, and then he'll get tired and he'll like start exhaling and then go slower. And you can see him just working through it, and I admire his work ethic. And then he just plopped down on top of a life ring that I didn't know counted as a chair and started eating a sandwich. So like I relate. Crackle just talks about food all the time. It hits too close to home for me. Mine are always walking around town with sandwiches. Sometimes June has a lollipop. But everybody else just whipping out these like BLT sandwiches all times of the day. First thing in the morning, 7:30 a.m. Drago's walking around with like a old tomato sandwich. He's just living his life. Love Deli. First I wasn't sure about Hugh, but he's growing on me. Jock, Ninja Rabbit Snake, another village. Patty the cow, talk a lot. Snake walked away really mad. She insulted his quads. I love it when they fight. If you see them talking and you go and talk to one of them early enough, you can kind of eavesdrop on their conversation. And I enjoy that. I enjoy that a lot. Shaking trees until a bathtub falls out. That, you're right. That is hard work. That is true. I just got the cutest ever net. The upgraded Nook's Cranny, sorry, I'm just talking about Animal Crossing all day. The upgraded Nook's Cranny will sell specialty tools. They're like 2,500 bells each, and they have the same durability as your regular upgraded tools, but some of them have different abilities, and I got a star net, and then I found out that I can customize it. So I'm going to try to keep it forever, because when you customize a tool, it takes one customization kit to do it, so 600 bells worth, but it resets your usage counters. I don't like count how many times I've used a given tool. I'm not that careful about it. But if I feel like I've been using it for a while and I like that one, I will just like spend one kit to like reset it, because when you change the color, it resets that number. So I'm gonna try to be more careful to keep that star net, because it's so cute. And then when I made it pink, it was even cuter. I was thinking yesterday, I played a bunch of Animal Crossing, and then I was like cleaning up my house and making my bed in real life, and I was thinking about how I get a very, very similar buzz from both activities, from decorating and tidying in real life and in Animal Crossing. It's exactly the same feeling. And then I'm like, well, that's silly. One of them is real life and one of them is a video game, so one of them doesn't matter. But then I was like, well, I have a bed to sleep on regardless of how cute it is. It still works even if it's not cute. You know, my curtains will block the sun regardless of how cute they are. So the buzz that I get off of cute ones is exactly equivalent to the excitement that I get off of decorating in Animal Crossing. They're very much the same thing. And rather than delegitimizing interior design to me, what that did was it legitimized the enjoyment I'm getting out of Animal Crossing, because it's exactly the same thing, except with less waste. You don't have to ship anything. I have Sheldon as my jockey. He's always anime running around the island, and he gets Tia to work out with him. That's so cute. All right, this is going to be attempt number 14 for our Fell Steel Annihilator. Today could be the day. I'm feeling the vibe. I would be down with I'd be down with today being the day. Cole was trying to get Admiral to sing, got sidetracked talking about food, and then confused himself. Looked up how many villages there are. New Horizons, 391. I have a mix of respect and incredulity. How do you say that word? Incredulity? I am incredulous. People that try to get specific villagers, even when you're time traveling, that's a hard roll. That is a tough roll to win. I guess it's a better roll if you do the thing where you're only missing that personality type from your island, so that the campsite's more likely to and disengage. Campsite's more likely to spawn them. But still, that's a really, really tough go of it. So I see people, like, you know, streamers and on Twitter and whatever, like, you know, resetting and going to islands and whatever to try to find their favorite villager. And that's a big ask. That's a lot. I both respect it, and I also think they're kind of crazy. 10,060 Nook Miles tickets to get Judy, and now she's searching for a lolly. I guess it's something to do. I've done a lot of mount runs in my life, and I'll have to do another one. But I don't really feel like I'm wasting my life, because this is just what I do on Tuesdays. All right, going back. Got Genji, cute jock, I feel lucky. I wish landscaping was as easy as it is. I wish we could decorate using the same UI that we get in our houses outdoors. And then also I wish we could spin the camera to look at the stuff, because I've been doing a lot of outdoor decorating and setting up outdoor spaces, but I can't see or like accurately place things, and it's much harder to decorate outside, but I still want to do it because, you know, I'm making a restaurant. It's very important to me. Okay, so that's 2 runs. So now we can go get the druid, and we'll do her. And that'll be a full clear. We'll be full clearing of the druid, but I think, oh, maybe we aren't. Did I finish my skip quest last week? I might have, or maybe I need one more week. Says the person that killed 34,000 blood trolls to get a flying blood tick. You've got a point. You absolutely have a point. Yeah, people do trade villagers. They do sell villagers. You can also buy amiibo cards. I don't think I would mess with that. I'm trying to put limitations on what I do in regards to the community, because it seems like part of the game's progression for me is collecting things, and if I was just to go online and then just like Google people to trade with that had the exact thing I'm looking for, I feel like that would suck a lot of the progression of the game out of it for me. Okay, yeah, so I still need to full clear this week, but next week I will not need to full clear on this character. First time I did this fight, killed him too fast. Got shoved into the cinematic as I fell and died of the fall damage. Been there. Been there. I like doing it on the priest because she can levitate, because otherwise I find that half the time I do die. How do I level with Draenor treasures? I started playing in Legion. So it's much easier, much easier if you have flying, Draenor flying. I don't know if you've ever gone back and done that, but it is definitely easier with Draenor Pathfinder. What you do is you want to get an add-on that will mark them on your map. I use Handy Notes with the plugin Handy Notes Draenor Treasures, and then you fly around looting them. Every one should give you roughly 33k experience. Oh, the other thing that you want to do is once you have your garrison built, you want to start by building your garrison. And once your garrison is built, you want to spend 100 garrison resources to buy a potion of accelerated learning, I believe. Something like that. There's a 20% experience potion that you can get from your garrison quartermaster that gives you 20% extra experience gained only from 100 up to 109. No, only from 90 to 100. The level ranges all blend together. But yeah, you pop that bad boy on too. Also worth doing occasional bonus objectives if there are any that you like. So I did Draenor leveling yesterday on that Void Elf. The whole thing took me about an hour to get from 90 to 100. And actually 90 to 103 before I left. Took me about an hour. And you're stuck, sir. Excuse you. Thank you. Did a couple of bonus objectives. Those are pretty good, but I wouldn't get stuck doing any that are gonna like really slow you up. I had more than enough experience to finish leveling there. I wish home loans were as civilized as Tom Nook's loans. I mean, people complain about Tom Nook being a loan shark, but Tom Nook is the opposite of a loan shark. Tom Nook offers you upfront construction with a fully financed home upgrade. He does the construction first, and then you pay him back whenever you want with no interest, and he never harasses you about it. You don't get any letters. He does not call you. You can go talk to him about anything else that you want to do, and he will not shade you. You can owe him 2 million bells and then walk up to his counter and be like, yo, I want to spend 200k on a bridge, and he will sell you that bridge even though he knows that you need to pay him back. That is a considerate Tanuki right there. Foxman, thank you very much for the brand new sub. Welcome to the Squirrel Squad. Sell villagers. So, a couple of ways to do it, but the thing that I think most people do is if you have a villager that is leaving, for the day that they're gonna leave, anybody else can come visit your island and talk to them and convince them to move into their island. So somebody that has a villager that they want to sell, if that villager decides to go, or if they're kicking them out with a amiibo or with a camp villager or whatever, they can then go online and find somebody that wants the leaving villager to come get them, and they can charge them for that if they want. Sky Bluish, thank you very much for the brand new sub. Welcome to the Squirrel Squad. Yo, sup Hazel, how's your morning so far? I'm off to a great start. I'm feeling pretty good. I hope I can keep my energy up for the afternoon. I'm feeling very well rested. I had a lovely day off yesterday, and then I didn't work too hard over the weekend, so I got a lot of Animal Crossing done. I didn't bake anything. I wanted to try to make some bread. Ooh, or try sourdough starter. Although if I do that, I need to start that like early. I tweeted about this. I was reading like blog posts and guides and write-ups about how to start your own sourdough starter. And as I tweeted, I swear it's straight out of a Goosebumps novel. You are creating slime, and then you feed the slime when it's hungry. This article I was reading talked about it in those exact terms. She was like, this is what it looks like when it's full, and then when it shrinks down to this point, then it's hungry. Time to feed. Your little slime thing. And I understand the basic principle of it. You're just fermenting, you're fermenting the flour water to create the bacteria that you need. And I've never made sourdough bread. I've never had sourdough starter for myself or anybody else, so I am kind of intrigued to try. the initial process of getting it started over that first week sounds fairly A, labor intensive, and B, flour intensive. When you're feeding it twice a day with like, what, half a cup of flour every day? Flour is tough to get right now, and I do have a good chunk of whole wheat flour and bread flour I can use for that, so maybe I'll do it anyways, but I feel bad about like wasting that much flour. But yeah. To any tips, tricks, advice from those of you that have started your own sourdough starter, any beginner pitfalls I should avoid if I do try to do this? What do you think? Tom Nook believes in affordable housing for all. When you finish the skip quest, how do you activate it? When you first zone in, there will be an NPC that has a portal like right here after you've completed the skip quest. And then you can just zoop through that portal. It'll take you to where you need to go. I think that if you've done both skip quests, it should zoop you to the middle portal, and then you have to zoop again. You know, zooping being the most technical term. I must have missed an NPC somewhere, maybe? This Hellfire Assault usually starts after you have cleared the room of trash. I'm looking forward to being done that in this character. I cleared a bunch up there. Oh, there they are. Hello. Nice to see you this fine Tuesday. Really enjoyed your recent video about quality of life improvement in Shadowlands. It was really helpful. I'm so glad that you guys liked that one. I was worried it would be too boring. Not everybody cares about, like, you know, systems options and changes, but they did some cool stuff this time around, so I wanted to round it up. I'm glad people are digging that one. Can't be as horrifying as making kombucha. I really enjoy drinking kombucha, so I think that it is in my own best interest to never make kombucha. The less I know, the better. That's where I'm at. Saw new Goosebumps books the other day. Don't feed it twice a day. You can keep it in the fridge. Only feed it about twice a week. The twice a day was from starting it, like before you've created it. The article was talking about feeding it twice a day during the first 6 days when you are generating your first starter. Like they said that once you have your starter, you keep it in the fridge. You feed it like once, twice a week. But that while you are growing it at the beginning. Making cheesecake brownies tonight. Oh, that sounds good. We finished those chocolate chip oatmeal cookies. We finished those DoubleTree cookies. So I need to bake something. Well, I don't need to, but I'm probably going to bake something relatively soon if I can scrape up some time. I could do brownies. I could do cookies. I could do cake. I could do cupcakes. I have no shortage of dessert options. I tried to do custard. I was in a mood for pudding recently, and I have this Bird's custard powder. Which I had originally got for some kind of trifle dessert that required a custard layer. And I tried making it, and it had instructions for on the hob, which I gather is the British way of saying the stove, or also the microwave. And I tried the microwave directions, and I think that I ruined it because it definitely didn't properly thicken and ended up just being kind of custard flavored sauce, but it was still quite nice over ice cream. You're in your lap? Yeah, she likes a good lap. She's a very cuddly cat. So glad you're online today. My mom just had heart surgery. Wasn't allowed to be with her. Very stressed at the moment. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope everything goes well. Do the scraping method. Scraping method. If Hazel ever becomes the mayor or something, she's going to be like, hey, move to a different town, lazy people. Has a baby slime, higher metabolism, needs to eat more. Yoshi, thank you very much for this 6-month resub. Wow, already half a year, right? It's going to be a year in June. I'm still a little bit flabbergasted that I haven't needed to really significantly mess with the stream schedule. I was fully expecting to burn out. I did not expect to be able to sustain 6 streams a week. That was kind of just like let's give it a go. And so far, so good. I won't say never changing it, but for now, I think I'm doing okay. Any of the Shadowlands battle pets been data mined? Data mined, yes. Nothing on the alpha that I've seen just yet, though. There's been models data mined, but not a ton of data connected to them. I will do a video once we have some stuff in the pet journal, because pets are one of those areas where sometimes models end up in the files and they never really make it into the game. Don't you have a friend with starter to share? That's the easy way. I don't have friends, no. Perfect time for a heavier stream schedule. Glad to hear you haven't felt burnt out, though. Yeah, I think it helps that I do short streams. I do such short streams. It's actually a bit of a poor decision in terms of just streaming, because if you look at the graph of like average viewership, it sort of it starts out low, and then as people show up, it climbs and climbs and climbs. And ideally, you would like to stream until you've hit your peak, and then continue streaming for a couple of hours to, like, you know, get some content out for those people. But I tend to stream until I hit my peak, and then I immediately log off because it's 2 hours and I'm moving on with the rest of my day. I wonder sometimes if it would be better to do less streams but longer ones, but I kind of like short ones because then I feel like I'm fresher for more of it. I don't know. I don't think there's one right or wrong way to do it. I do know that I'm probably taking my numbers a little bit, but I'm not exactly trying to, like, solicit sponsors or anything, so it's fine. As long as I'm happy and you're happy, we're cool. Case in point, Bengal Tiger Mount, they data mined in vanilla that's never been used. Wish there was a way to hide non-combat related buffs. Add-in recommendations. I use non-combat related buffs. There probably is. The problem, at least that I've run into in the past when I've tried to mess with, like, whitelisting and blacklisting different add-ons and auras, is that I always ended up having to just whitelist the ones I wanted, and I would always forget. It's probably easier if you can somehow just blacklist specific ones to hide. I went through a whole phase where I was trying to do custom frames because I wanted to see some buffs but not other ones in PvP, because I needed to be able to pick out certain buffs on enemy players, but, you know, with a whole row of buffs, I wasn't seeing them very easily. I don't have a good answer for you. I'm sorry. Mother had heart surgery. Everything went well. Natural to be worried. I like the shorter streams. Easier to work them into the day. Signed, Satisfied Viewer. Thanks, Bruce. Yeah, I do think they work better for VoDs as well. Like, if I'm going to put a stream VoD out in a week, it makes sense. I feel like 2 hours is sort of upper end of, like, podcast length territory. I don't think that this content is quite up to podcast par, because usually those have, like, you know, given topics and, like, a structure and segments and whatever. And this is just me making up words for 2 hours, but it's, you know, it's the same sort of style of content. Speaking of making up words for 2 hours, I yesterday had a fungus adventure. Sort of. I don't know. I haven't confirmed that it was fungus. I'll never know anything. But, so, aquarium behind me. Planted tank. Yes. Very good. Plants have been coming in. I've been seeing more root growth through the glass. I have also been seeing more top growth on the plants. It looks like every single variety of plant so far is pulling through, which is very surprising to me. I thought that off the bat, at least a couple of them would melt. So far, everything is either staying stable or growing rapidly. So that's good. However, I noticed in one corner of the tank that there was like a white thread-like growth that was fairly rapidly spreading in a web-like pattern across the plant in that corner as well as the glass. At first, I thought I had a crack in my glass, and I was concerned about that. But then I looked closely, and it was also growing on the plants, and it's hard to describe, but the structure of this mysterious white thread-like growth led me to believe that it was more fungus in nature than algae, because white thread algae is a thing, but it doesn't look quite like that. Typically, white algae is more of a cottony thing, and this was very, very thread-like. And also, like, the structure of it just kind of felt mycelial, if that makes any sense. It had kind of like a mushroomy kind of structure. So I figured that's probably fungus, and it does make sense because that corner of the tank was farthest from the filter output, so it was getting the least amount of water movement. So I assumed that it had maybe some stagnant water in that corner. So I moved the filter to the center of the tank to circulate a little bit better, and I also cleaned out the existing, or at least disrupted the existing fungus. I'm interested to see if it comes back. I haven't seen it yet. I also don't know anything. There's no fish in that tank yet, so I don't have to worry about whether or not anything that does decide to grow in there for now is dangerous to fish. That's a later me problem. But it's possible that had I had like some shrimp or something, that the shrimp would just eat it. Shrimp eat all kinds of stuff. They're the darndest things. No mount luck just yet. Whatever happened to the lemon tree you're growing? I have 2 seedlings at this time, and they're both actually, I just moved them outside. Wendy M'd up, thank you very much for the 10-month resub. Sure goes by quick, right? Also, Cyberwolf with the 9 months. Hi, everyone. Hello. Yeah, the 2 lemons are outside now. The weather has warmed up. It appears that there will not be another frost of the season. So I moved them out so that they can get some sun, and they can also get a little bit of rain. And they both have perked up. They're putting on some new growth. They seem happy. I'm still unclear about what kind of plant they're going to grow up to be, because lemons are weird things genetically. Most modern lemons that you might buy in a store have been grafted, like the plants are grafted. You have a fruit stalk that is grafted onto the root stock. So you have a plant with strong roots and also decent fruit. but the seeds of those fruits are not necessarily going to grow true to type. And I knew that when I decided to plant lemon trees. So I bought lemon seeds online, hoping that I would get some that would be true to type, because then your downside is that maybe it doesn't have the strongest rootstock, but at least the fruit might be okay. However, I bought them off of Etsy. Who knows where that guy got the seeds? He could have just ripped them out of a lemon that he got at his grocery store, so it's really a mystery as to what's going to happen with those, but that's part of the fun. I'm not really expecting to get edible lemons. Like, if I wanted edible lemons, I should probably just, like, go to a nursery, spend $10 and buy a little lemon tree, and maybe one day I'll do that, but fruit trees don't seem like the right thing for me to be buying as I live in an apartment. I would rather take my chances with something that I've grown from seed that I'm not too worried about if it dies. I feel like if I actually buy a young fruit tree, then I'm, like, committed to try to make it work, and I may not be able to without being able to plant it in the ground. Tiny worm-like things grow when there's no filter or fish. So there's detritus worms. I am reasonably intricately acquainted. Rhapsody, thank you for the 10-month resub. Hiya, Hazel. Hiya. I am reasonably acquainted with various things that tend to grow in aquariums, because I've had a few of them and I've done different setups, and I've had detritus worms before. I've also had midgefly larvae, which was a whole different experience. Those are wild. And these are definitely not that. The worms are actually, like, they'll sometimes end up in the water free float, and fish love them. My betta fish used to love eating them. It definitely wasn't that. I feel like based on the stagnance of the water, it was probably fungus. I'm not going to mess with any antifungals. The whole tank is still working itself out. That's why there's no fish in it yet. It's going to, don't mind that sound. It's going to take a while to kind of figure its life out and for the plants to really establish and do their thing. Based on how dense the planting is, though, and the fact that a lot of it may stick around, this is a hard, I know you're supposed to tank them away from each other, but I'm one person. What do you do? This is a hard... Lost my train of thought. Oh, looking at that tank and how densely planted it is. Originally, I was kind of thinking, I'm gonna figure out what sort of fish I want in that tank later, like a couple months down the road when it's more balanced and more ready to support fish life. Oh yeah, thank you very much for the 9-month resub. Appreciate it. But my options are either a betta fish or a small amount of, like, nano fish, like some exclamation point rasboras or something like that. And looking into it, like looking at the tank itself, I have a hard time seeing a betta fish in there because there's not a ton of swimming space. Like, smaller schooling fish tend to enjoy a densely planted tank because it gives them space to hide from each other, and because they're small enough they can kind of navigate around plants. But bettas are a little bigger, and even though they don't like to move all that much, I mean, they like to move, but they're not as active as like a Danio or anything. They still, I don't know, I feel like it might be a little too crowded for them. I feel like you might want a little bit more swimming space. Fungus among us. The squirrel that I feed travels up to my 3rd-story balcony and keeps eating all the fruit trees. Giving up on trees, good luck to yours. Oh no, but your buddy, he's betrayed you. Short streams are cool. Don't usually have time to catch streams live. Watching the VoD's been a nice afternoon routine while doing chill leveling. Yeah, I think I'll stick with this for now. It's a good schedule because it also incentivizes me to, like, put on clothes for the day and then talk to people. And I think that time for me can really start to blend together when I go too long without chatting with people. And as somebody that was already fairly isolated, but now I'm definitely isolated, I think that the social contact, as much as it is helpful for me. You boys just want to play hide and seek? Yeah. And then if they're teeny enough boys, then I can feasibly have some shrimp in there as well. Like, if I get itty bitty little teeny tiny fish, then they won't really be able to bother adult shrimp anyways. And there should be enough space for baby shrimp to hide. But the really teeny tiny ones that I was looking at are those exclamation point rasboras or chili rasboras. And both of those I think prefer more acidic water, and my water is definitely not acidic. Talking to pets doesn't count? It counts. You count us as people? This is so flattering. Trouble finding streamers at some times of day and night. Sleep schedule is all messed up. Wake 30 hours, sleep for 16 hours. Ooh. Yeah, you're not alone, but that does sound really rough. What have I done? Oh, now we get to go do, the dude downstairs. I've already forgotten his name. Hard time watching WoW streams while also playing WoW. The streamers, oh, the add-on sounds go off. Yeah, that happens when I'm doing actual content for me. Like if I'm running like a dungeon or a raid, then I'll have like the air horns and all that. But most of the things that I do don't really have all that much sound going on. Okay. Gorefiend. Yes, thank you. I was thinking Kilrog, and I'm pretty sure I just killed Kilrog. Yeah, we just dealt with Kilrog. Kilrog's all done. Air horns are essential sources of oxygen. Oh, drive-by cat. I guess my cat's not on my lap anymore. I didn't really consciously notice that happening. I'm excited about that tank. I'm especially pleased. So there is a plant called Water Wisteria. It is a very vigorous plant. And I've had it before, and it actually did fairly well in just sand in my tank, so I was very excited to try it in soil. I ordered a couple different Water Wisteria, and I put them in that tank. And when I got them, they're quite tall. This plant can get quite big. And that's only a 5-gallon tank. It's not very tall. So I put the Water Wisteria in, and half of it was sticking at the top of it. And my first instinct would have been to trim it. But then the words of Diana Wallstadt came to me through my brain. And in her book, she talked about how she really wants you to encourage immersed growth. Plants growing up into the air out of your aquarium. Because that allows them to access atmospheric carbon, which is much easier for them to get than aquarium-born carbon. So that will help them to grow bigger and stronger and do more of their plant thing. And of course, the plant thing is good in a variety of ways for your aquarium. So she says, don't trim immersed growth if you can help it. So I figured, what if I just leave the tops of this thing out of the water and then rig the light so that it's above it, rig a light so that it's above of the out-of-tank growth, and then just spritz it now and then to try to keep it damp. Because the risk was that taking this aquarium plant that, you know, arrived wet and is kind of supposed to be under the water, and then having half of it be dry, the risk was that it would just kind of like crinkle up and fall off. And some of the leaves did, but it definitely has adapted up top, and it's putting on like a lot of new growth now, which I'm really happy about, because I didn't know if it would work. Taking a plant and then adapting it for different growing conditions can be tricky sometimes. Pink Flamongo, thank you very much for the brand new sub. Welcome to the Squirrel Squad. Would you say it's hysterical? Oh boy. Also, my micro swords are looking like they might spread and maybe even start to carpet. There's like little grass tendrils that are like already spreading out from the little plugs of plants that I put in, and I am so delighted. I just want a lawn. I don't think I'm gonna get a proper lawn because I'm not doing carbon injection. CO2 is the limiting factor in aquatic plant growth by and large. So people that have really crazy planted tanks will often inject CO2, which is like a high-tech setup. And I don't want to mess with that. So I'm probably not going to get a crazy, like, lush lawn in my tank, but I might get something. It's looking pretty good. Hi, Hazel. Sup, Dances? How you been? Fortunate to have the work from home option, but can't work in my studio with hubs. Friends have a spare I work from, so I have to shower, put on pants still. There you go. Oh, man. All right. I should turn in the Well of Souls quest. I think Khadgar will let me do that soon. Work from home ends this Friday when our state reopens, dreading when the museum reopens to the public. How can someone with only 20k gold hope to get the Long Boy? Is it hopeless? I mean, it's never hopeless, but it's only going to get harder and harder the longer you wait. I don't think I have a way I can tell you that will definitely do it, but I can tell you that if you don't try, then you'll never do it. So now we get to go do our Manaroth skip. So we are heading back and then to the left. Better to try and just get set up for Shadowlands. I mean, there's only so much setup that you really need to do for Shadowlands. Like, you can try to get your character geared up, but a basic level of gear is pretty easy to get. And you won't really need, like, you're going to replace that gear with questing greens anyway, so I wouldn't stress about that. As far as how much gold we're going to need in Shadowlands, really tough to say, but it's also a fair bet that it's going to be much easier to make gold when Shadowlands comes out, because a fresh expansion with fresh content to do always results in a boosting of the markets. There's going to be more people buying and selling, and it should be easier to, you know, fresh new ways to make gold. So I would just kind of do what you can now, see where you can get to, and maybe you'll make gold faster than you thought. maybe it'll be easier than you thought it would. Try and fail, at least you'll have a nice nest egg to start off in Shadowlands. Exactly. Too early for these states to be opening. Yeah, it's a rough world. I just want an Orc Paladin. 20 gold a day to get the Longboy before December is Shadowlands. And I think that's perfectly doable. I do about 10k a day just from, like, you know, like on a day that I'm playing, you do some world quests, maybe you do like an assault, maybe you're like vendoring some stuff, maybe you disenchant some gear, maybe you sell an enchant or two. I think that that's a fairly reasonable passive level of gold, so then if you're actually like really working on it, then maybe another 10k. 20k. Make Paladins Alliance only again? Oh man. Oh man. Thinking of doing a Covenant-inspired makeup looks video. Does that sound interesting? That sounds like a great idea. That sounds like a super fun thing to do. I imagine those posts would also probably go over well on like Instagram. Jellybean Blues, thank you very much for the 4-month reset. Appreciate it. Yeah, maybe I'll try to get a sourdough starter going. I should try it before I want it, because if it's going to take like at least a week or more, I guess what I'm worried about is, one, I'm going to have to dedicate like a container to this thing, and I don't really have that many dishes that I can just sacrifice one to hold my goo blob. It would be ideal to have like a specific like mason jar for it, and I don't have one handy, and it's annoying to just buy one, and we just went shopping yesterday, so we're not going for another 2 weeks, but it's going to take a while to get the thing off the ground. Should do it before I need it. It's creeping a little closer to lunchtime over here, and I can tell because I'm getting hungry and thinking about food, but bread sounds good. Making bread sounds good. Just got to 1.5 mil. Does seem to be coming in pretty steady. Did you wear your mask? I didn't go yesterday. We didn't need as much food as we have. We've pretty much stocked up on staples, so we more or less just needed a re-up on some fresh stuff. So we managed to just send the one of us yesterday, and my husband went and he wore his mask. The time before that, we both went and wore them. And that was fine. I found that my glasses fog up a lot when I'm wearing a mask out in public. Lunchtime here, ignoring in favor of pretzels and crab dip. I mean, you got some protein there. There's some amount of food. There's something going on. I have definitely not been eating as well during quarantine. I haven't been eating horribly, but we've probably been eating a higher amount of like baked goods and sweets, and I think that my lunches are not as healthy as they have been. I'm still eating fruits and vegetables, but not in the same quantities that I once was. And it's tough because you don't like when you can only get fresh produce, or when you are only getting, I suppose we could get it more often, but it feels best to only get fresh produce every second week. It's not going to be fresh in the second week, so you just have, you know, you feel like you want to ration it a little bit. I'm really excited for my tomatoes and basil that I've planted. They're just seedlings still, but they're starting to really grow now, especially now that I've got them outside. They're doing much better and starting to really take off, and I'm so excited for those to get big enough to start making food for me to eat, because then I can just generate my own food. It's going to be great. I was looking into maybe those, I see people with these planters that they have perched on balcony railings. And that sounds very intriguing to me because that would free up floor space, because my balcony is not that big. So I'm always kind of budgeting floor space because you want to cover it floor to floor with plants, but you also need a place to stand while you're watering them. And then like maybe sit out there once in a while would be nice too. I don't know. So the railing planter sounds intriguing, but all the ones that I looked up are kind of fit for railings that are not the size of my railing, and it gets really windy around here. So I can just see my planter just blowing free of my railing and toppling to the land below. And if it had all my basil plants in it, it would be very sad. I like those. I have a deck garden. It's turned into my neighbors asking me for my tomatoes. So you're playing a druid. What spec was the easiest to level and the best for solo play in your opinion? I think I leveled as Resto just because I liked healing dungeons. I don't know, actually, between Feral and Balance. I think they're both fairly easy to play, and they both do fine for soloing. Balance is good for soloing dungeons because your Sunfire is an instant cast, ranged ability that cleaves within 8 yards, so it's very good for clearing trash. And then Druids in general are good because you can get 30% movement speed, plus 30% movement speed just with cat form anytime you want, plus you also can have your dash and like wild charge if you're spec'd into that. So lots of movement, and then Sunfire, very good for clearing stuff. So I usually do that as balance. Leveling is, I kind of like leveling as Feral just because it's a little less boring. Balance can feel kind of boring sometimes. To me. Feral for solo. Strawberries on my deck and a vertical planter. Inadequate railing space is an underrated problem. I'm also a little worried about just dripping water down to the below railing, but having creeped on my neighbors and like spied on their balconies from the street, it doesn't appear that they have anything going on out there at all. I've never seen them out there, so I think that if their railing got a little wet, I don't think they would mind. I suppose I could ask. But yeah, I'm very careful when I water my plants because our decks are not waterproof. So if I water my plants and they're dripping, it's going to drip on downstairs. And in the past, people have lived out there. I guess nobody's ever had furniture, but the people below them have had furniture, and I just really don't want to be dripping dirty water on anybody. So I have like buckets, and I'll like put a plant in the bucket and then water it. Like I have too many and they're too big to all bring into the sink. So I'll like water it in a bucket and then I'll let it drain for a while, then I'll take it out of the bucket and I'll take the bucket in the sink, and it's just a whole production. And I am very much looking forward to one day I shall live a life where I have a home. I can just put plants outside on a deck perhaps, and then water them, and then walk away, and they'll just drain, and it'll dry, and it'll be fine. That's the dream, one day. I want a sandwich now, but the bread is in the process of thawing, so I can't for another 12 hours. Depending on what kind of sandwich is, have you considered making your sandwich with toast? I used to do that for veggie sandwiches and for PB&Js. You make the toast. If you are putting something like a PB&J together, I would make the toast, but then let the toast cool a little bit so that your peanut butter and jam doesn't completely melt. But it's like a nice sort of crunchy vibe to the sandwich, and also will help you defrost your bread. Did you have fun playing Demo Lock yesterday? I build homes. Two good and separate thoughts. I did have fun on Demo. I thought for sure I would have switched back to Destro by now, but I just don't want to. I'm having so much fun. I kind of started to get the hang of it. I switched my talents around to the ones that are more commonly recommended. And it's really fun, especially on like bosses and whatnot, especially if you like get up to a questing boss or a big elite mob after you've already been chain pulling mobs for a while. So you go in with like 9, 10, 12 imps, and then you extend them all with your fell tyrant, and then you have like your dogs, and then it's really fun. For a while I was talented into that thing that summons extra wild imps every now and then, and it would also summon occasionally like an extra demon, and I've since discovered that's not necessarily the best talent, so I'm not spec'd into it anymore. But I'm a little sad because every now and then it would give me like a little Bile Scourge guy, and those are really cute, or it would give me like a Void puppy, and that was fun, and I think that's the only way for me to get those demon summons. I know you'd like it. I just had to figure it out. I just had to understand it, which I think is kind of the theme with most classes. I enjoy playing almost anything if I know how. It's when I don't really understand how something works that I feel like I don't like it. There's some specs that are simple enough to play that you can kind of get bored with them anyways. Like, I feel like I'm fairly confident in playing balance. I understand the principles. It's just it's a little too predictable for me. I like a playstyle that has a little bit more RNG in it than balance. If you hate RNG, balance is a great spec because you are very not relying on procs. You are living your life on your own terms. Dream is one day get a greenhouse. Lend you some of my backyard if I could live on a quarter. Oh, if I could, you live on a quarter acre. Man. I feel like I would love a little bit of land. I don't need a ton of land. Like, I grew up on a full acre, and it was a lot. Like, we had the whole family, we would do lots of landscaping work, and we had chickens, and we had a front yard and a backyard. It was so much space, and it was too much work. And that was with a family of 4. We're a family of 2 because the cat and the dog don't help at all. And I want land that I can kind of maintain myself. So I feel like a quarter acre would be perfect because that's like, you know, you can have a little garden, you can have a little yard, but it's not so much space that it's too much work to keep up with. Hopefully. Downstairs, neighbors like to grill in our no grills allowed complex right under the intake. Oh, extinguish fire smell. Oh, that sucks. Recently went Enhancement Shaman after being unnecessarily resistant. Can't go back, I've been ruined. Enhance is one of those specs that will just get ya. Enhance is really fun. And it does a lot of damage. Ow, 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 ow. Why am I in such pain? 3 minutes. Can't benefit from gladiator. What hurt me that badly? I'm level 120. Awkward. Yeah, enhance is pretty good too. I feel like I will probably feel that way with Demon Hunter if I can ever get over my initial resistance to it, but I haven't spent enough time with it. Because I used to feel that way about Death Knight. Death Knight was always like bottom of my list of classes that I want to play. And then Blood turns out to be like the most fun tanking spec I've ever seen. I have 33. Let's have a WoW party. Sweet Corn's just about to come up. I live on 8 acres of land. Since my grandfather passed, it's been hard for us to take care of all of it. Enhancements being changed the most. Careful of falling in love with it now. My parents did a good job of hiding how tight money was. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, we've always been okay. I think that my parents did a good job of instilling, I think, a fairly reasonable sense of money in us. Like, we had to learn as children how to budget, and we knew that we weren't going to get everything that we wanted. We didn't have a ton of disposable income. My mom and my stepdad at the time worked. They both worked, so they both had incomes, but neither one was like a crazy high income. They weren't minimum wage, but they were fairly middle incomes. We lived in a fairly expensive place. So we didn't get everything that we wanted, but I thought that was pretty good because it let me value the things that we did get much more, and learn. You get a real good sense for what is needed and what you really don't need. when you really learn to identify between a want and a need, it helps you out a lot, especially as a young adult. I managed to pay off my student loans mind you, I didn't have that many because I dropped out of university, but I still had a good chunk of student loans for my first year, and I managed to pay them off in a fairly reasonable amount of time because I was working through university and I wasn't blowing my money like the other people I was working with, because you figure out that, you don't really need to. You're good, it's fine. Demon Hunter feels like a class from a different game. Feels more like a BDO class than the WoW one. Oh, I actually really agree with that, the BDO thing. It's very... I don't know how to explain it without making sound effects that don't explain it. It's very like... Wow, wow. Like, it's very impactful, I guess, but you also don't get a real strong feeling for where your character is. And I struggled with some disconnect between what the buttons I was pressing were doing and what my character was doing, because you press what is that, blade dance? You press blade dance, and my character is doing the nutcracker. Like, she's all over the place, and I pressed one button, and she's going right, she's going left, she's going up, she's debuffing, she's doing damage, it was the one button, and it doesn't feel proportionate to me, On my Demonology Warlock, I press one button, and it summons some imps and does some damage, and that's cool, and then I can use those imps, or I can, extend those imps. Like, everything kind of builds on each other, and I feel like by the time I'm doing a lot of really crazy cool stuff, I've built up to it for a while, and I've kind of earned the right to have all of that going on around me. What have I missed here? I did not kill Socrathar, I bet. No, Zul'Harak. I missed Zul'Harak. I did kill Socrathar then. Yeah, I did. So we want to go back and find Zul'Harak. Extremely mobile class and very swishy. It is very swishy. Sacrificed everything except for my love of ballet. I refuse to stand still during blade dance. I have to help it out. I just don't even know where I'm standing anymore. Frenetic, another very good word. After playing Demon Hunter, I feel like Mage and Priest deserve to slow fall by pressing space while jumping. True. I mean, at least on a Mage and a Priest, the one thing that you can do is you can slow fall other people, which you don't get as a, you don't get that as a Demon Hunter. You can't give your wings to other people. Although it would be great if you could grab somebody else that was falling. Like, you jump off a cliff and somebody else has fallen off the cliff. Oh no, hang on, let's back up. Somebody falls off a cliff. You jump off after them, like Batman, grab them, and then slow glide to safety. Superhero moves right there. How fun would that be? You'd have to put a pretty good range on it, because otherwise it would be kind of hard within WoW to get close enough to somebody to grab them. But that would be fun. Love your awesomeness. Keep up the good work. Thank you. I wish I'd never played Demon Hunter because I can't go back to immobile classes like DK now. when I'm playing my Warlock, I do kind of feel as though it's not super... It does feel pretty slow. I'm not spec'd into Burning Rush because Burning Rush always felt oddly punishing for the movement speed buff, and I tend to forget to turn things off, so I was just going to kill myself with it. And Soul Leech just feels like a better passive pick for me. So without Burning Rush, I don't have a lot of like passive movement for just getting around. You're pretty much running at run speed. You can, in a raid fight, get around with like maybe your portals, and you can get around with your, you know, your teleport, and as a Void Elf, I can get around with my Void Elf racial if I ever remember to use it. But when you're just kind of like running around questing or whatever, you don't really get that. However, it does mean I'm spending much more time with my mounts. I'm less resistant to mounting up for traveling short distances, and it means I've been getting reacquainted with some mounts. Good morning, Hazelland chat. What's up, Daisy? How are you? Burning Rush is great. I highly recommend it. I'm not qualified to Burning Rush. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna forget that I'm using it. I'm gonna be like, oh, a butterfly. Wow, somebody said something in chat. I haven't thought about fish today yet. And I'll just get totally off track and then be like, oh no, I have 1 health, and then my character will sneeze and die. Maybe in like a raid. Technically can't kill you if you aren't being hit. Yeah, the danger is that I'm gonna get myself down to 1% or whatever, and then something else is gonna kill me. Use it while clearing old content. Takes 4% health. Yeah, I guess so. I guess so. It just feels awkward. Nobody else has to like almost die in order to just go a little bit faster. Get used to the Void Elf racial. Comes in really handy. Best when you know you'll need to move soon. I'm really hoping I can get good at it for the sake of raid encounters, because it does seem really good. It almost makes me wish I had given my Void Elf Shadow Priest a better chance, because it would be really nice to have as a Shadow Priest as well. Wolf of Wall Street, thank you very much for the 10-month resub. Deeply appreciated. Does turn itself off. Okay. Yeah, maybe I'll mess with it more. It's probably a good call. But yeah, I'm really enjoying that Warlock. Especially now that I can hide transmog in various slots, I think she looks so nice in a robe without shoulders. I think that it suits her very well. It's a look that I've always liked. I've always looked for like very minimal shoulders, so being able to transmog, you know, just a robe and then like skip the belt or skip gloves or do just a robe and bracers, I feel like I enjoy it so much more. So I don't want to say I'm committing to it as a main, but I am very much enjoying the vibe. I'm going to get her geared up in BFA content and then do some of that to see how I like that. And then I'll probably explore Warlock a bit on Alpha to see what I think of that. But it's looking good. I like the pets. My Felguard, his name is Akentom, so of course I call him Tom. Tom is a bro. Tom holds aggro. Tom loses a lot of health but never dies. Tom can fel spin. Tom can twirl. Tom can, what else can Tom do? Tom can stun people at range for 4 seconds on a 30-second cooldown. Like, wow. You go, Tom. Burning Russian and Gnome Warlock is the greatest. Struggle on cloth characters is fixing the shoulder problem. They so rarely fit outside of dedicated sets. Yeah, they do look kind of awkward, usually. I see where you're coming from on that. Alright, this is going to be attempt number 15 for the Felsteel Annihilator from Mythic Hellfire Citadel. What would you suggest for HFC Mythic? Oh, what item level? So this character is 426, and she does fine. You can probably squeak by with a little less than this if you're going feral. I find that some of the bosses I end up having to do mechanics on, so more might be better. I'd say aim for like 420, but good players can probably get by with less. Which is weird because on my hunter is much lower item level than this, and she seems to clear things much faster. Maybe I just do suck. Maybe I'm just not a good boomkin. I don't like boomkin, and boomkin doesn't like me. It's fair. Here, let's try a cooldown. That'll be good. There we go. At least I didn't kill him so fast that, I did not kill him so fast that he, cinematicked while I was falling. That's something. There we go. Okay. And drum roll. No luck. not attempt number 15. I need more, I definitely need more Warlock Transmog, though. I was kind of looking through her available gear, and I'm like, ooh, there's some really cool Warlock sets, and I'm gonna have to, like, farm them on the Warlock if I'm gonna get them, because a lot of them are Warlock specific, so you can't learn them on anything else. And that kind of brought to my mind, what do Warlocks like to do if they must run old content? Ideally, you do it on a different class that is better at it. I'm actually really looking forward to running stuff on my Warrior, because I feel like your Heroic Leap and your Charge and your Whirlwind is going to be great. But when you have to be a Warlock, how do you like to go about AoE cleaving trash? Do you take the talent that summons Wild Imps and then just implode once in a while? Do you have any, like, instant cast AoE that clears? I'm thinking of how to, like, clear trash pulls, really. How long would you say HFC takes to run? Never gave much of a shot. So I will do a full clear of HFC in an hour. I will do a half clear after you have the first half skip in half an hour. And I'm assuming that once I have the full skip, which we're going to be able to check out next week, I'm assuming full skip brings it down to under 10 minutes, like 6-7 minutes probably. So it's just about how much of the skip quest you have done. The skip quest takes a while to do, but you're also, like, getting transmog and getting gold while you're working on it. This is a WoD raid. This was the last raid in WoD. The Felguard insta-kills most trash? Yeah, his thing is on a bit of a cooldown, but it's not that bad. Destro is easier? How does Destro clear trash? Everything is, like, everything that cleaves on Warlocks feels like it has a cast time, except for Implosion. Warlock and his Affliction, limited AoE, body pull trash. Okay. Yeah, I'm thinking probably Destro or Demo for raids, I'm imagining, will probably be the way to go. In my brain, you take the thing that spawns a new Wild Imp every 12 seconds, and then you can go throw that to explode it on anything around. And as long as it's a fairly low-level raid, that should kill stuff. And then, of course, your Felguard will help too, like you're saying. Oh, Rain of Fire is instant? Oh! It was a cast time last time I used it. Maybe I didn't level high enough. I needed, like, a talent or something. Hi, Squad. What did I miss? I'm Super Chief. How you doing? We did our mat runs for today. We got through 3 clears, no dice, but them's the breaks. Soulcloth Vest is both shoulderless and sleeveless. Purple, green, and white. Take shards. Thought you were Demo? I am. Well, I'm enjoying Demo for now. I want to, ideally, gain a basic level of competence with all 3 Warlock specs and understand how all 3 of them play, so that if any one of them becomes wildly stronger than the other 2, I can switch for a while. Or, you know, if switching between specs makes more sense in Shadowlands, you know, without Azerite gear, then maybe switching back and forth depending on what the situation in the boss calls for. I'm just dot and run. Oh, man. This is a quest I can turn in now. I just started getting her class hall set up. I feel like Warlock is the only Legion character that I can think of that required me to get my weapon before it let me into the class hall. I feel like a lot of them let you into your class hall way earlier. I had to go get a whole demonology weapon before they let me come do this. I also don't know how much of the Legion stuff I'm gonna do. Are the appearances for I guess I would have to look them up, huh? Appearances for the weapons. Appearances for the artifact weapons. Are they really good? Like, I'm into the skull thing. What am I looking for? Appearance, items, weapons, artifacts. Okay, so these are the Destro staves. Those are kind of nice. Oh yeah, and then Affliction has the scythe. That's right. Those are good. And then your skulls, apparently, you don't... Oh, there's the skull. I was thinking, I don't see it, but there he is. There's Thalkiel. Hello, buddy. He's fun. I like that. Look at him. I unlocked it for the first time, so I don't have very many colors of it. Skull's so cool. Yeah, it's too late for me to get the Mage Tower, but I could probably do other appearances if they're really good. Did you miss Mechanical Hazel hitting 120? No. I was leveling this one kind of on my own time yesterday and got to about 106. Mecha Hazel is still level 80. I do collect toys, kind of. I collect toys as long as there's something that I need. So I have 442 toys, and I think it's because at 400 toys, there was the Brutus battle pet, and I really wanted him. What a sight to behold. Enjoy my Ulthalesh. Don't know what the Mage Tower transmog for locks are. That's probably for the best. Me neither. And I never need to find out because I can never get them anyways, so I should not torment myself by looking at something that I can't have. The disembodied head still freaks me out. I have no idea how to unlock the Havoc hidden appearance. I bet you Wowhead knows, though. Ugh, that's where I would look. So, oh yeah, I was gonna go do the tech training thing. There should be another Legion invasion at like 2 o'clock this afternoon, and I think like 1 invasion plus maybe just a smidge of questing should be enough to get this character. She is 106 plus 28%, and once she gets to 110, she can of course go start BFA stuff. But I might end up coming back here. I might just do some of the class hall stuff anyways, so that I can because if I'm gonna like, I don't even have the Warlock class mount. Ooh, that might be good. Maybe when that mission comes in. I don't even have the Warlock class mount. What does that look like? Fell Steed, maybe? Fell... I forget what it's called. It's like a horse, right? Like it must fly. My mom called her Skull Bob from Dresden Files. Set gear prevents you from using the skull, but the one I use is cool moth wings when you jump. The Wrath Steed. It might be hidden. Oh no, there they are. Okay. Netherlord's Accursed Wrath Steed. Brimstone Wrath Steed. Chaotic Wrath Steed. Okay. I see. So it's a very cool horse. It's a very cool horse. It is just a horse, though. It does fly. Okay. Yeah, I've been trying to figure out what kind of pets and mounts I want to ride in this character. So I really like this outfit because the purple in her robe, this is the LFR robe of the Horned Nightmare from tier 16. It was like a mop one, I believe. And then the staff, I don't know what the staff is, but the illusion on it is illusion. Does it not tell me? It might tell me if I open up my Mog. It's like the Void Touched illusion, I think it might be called. Weapon. Void Edge. Pardon me. It's the Void Edge appearance. And that kind of makes it match the purple in her dress. And it also, whenever I get my Void Elf proc, I turn that purple. So it all kind of matches. So for a while, I've been riding the Uncorrupted Void Wing because it also matches. You get your staff matching your Drake, matching your dress, and that's kind of nice, but it's also a big old Drake, so she, it's kind of awkward to fly around all the time. But I've been doing it. I've been making it work. Plus, you know, you gotta flex your head of the curve somehow. It's a fancy Warlock horse, though. This is true. That cool noise when you mount it and leaves a fail trail. I'll have to get it. I'll have to get it. I've forgotten how hard they are to get, so right now I'm fired up for it. Fashion Craft Ultimate Endgame content. The Flower Crown is from the Lunar Festival event, but it's one of the only seasonal transmogs that you can now transmog year-round, as long as you did... There was a certain quest that came out this past Lunar Festival in January. Kellet Road, thank you very much for the brand new sub. Welcome to the Squirrel Squad. Like the class hall robe a lot. Ooh, can I check that out? There's somebody in this awful place. I hate the Warlock class hall. It's like too big and too twisty and too spread out. I appreciate being able to mount in here, but I'm never gonna figure this one out. Also, it's like weird and dark in here and kind of crusty looking. Warlock. So there's somebody. Are they up top? I have no idea. Somebody's gonna offer the set, and then I can look at it. Class hall is a bit disappointing. You can see it in the set tab. Quartermaster's by the Weapon Forge thing. I don't know where the Weapon Forge thing is. Here's some books. There's books. No. Black Harvest armor. Ooh. Black Harvest Quartermaster. Yeah, there we go. She's so short. GG Gigavoid. Oh, what a name, though. What a name. GG is wearing Cataclysm crafted tailoring pieces. So there's... Oh, that's a nice staff. I'll just buy that. Give that. Of the Black Harvest. Oh, boy. Wow. Interesting. Ooh. So I don't think I'm going to wear it like this because that is an aggressive amount of look. The helmet takes it too far. I, however, could be persuaded to just wear the robe. Because that's got really nice detail. I think that this Void Elf is going to favor anything with a real deep V. Nothing can compete with Priest Class Hall. The add-on that's putting the X is called Can I Mog It? And it's marking pieces that I don't have learned to my appearance collection yet. Blue checkmark means that I do know it. Can I Mog It? White tattoos, don't use the helmet. Warlock class hall, you can get to anywhere from the middle area. Yeah, this does kind of make sense. Yeah. I don't know. I hopefully won't need to spend too much time here. But yeah, I'll probably work for that. When you need your raiders to double as a coat rack. I feel like it would make a very good hat hook. In any event, let's see, do I have dog on my dog cam? I have most of them. I have some amount of dog. Thank you all very much for joining me today. I had a really delightful stream. I am going to leave now and make some lunch. I can hear my stomach. Pretty hungry. Tomorrow, I will be streaming in the afternoon. Tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, all afternoon streams, depending on what's going on. We might do some leveling, we might do some Warlock, might do some Mechanome, or might do some Alpha. We'll figure it out as we go. If you have not been to my YouTube channel recently, I made some stuff. There is a video out right now that came out this morning talking about quality of life changes, system stuff in Shadowlands, so check that out if you're interested. Thank you all so much for the incredible day, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day.